guys, Courtney Mermaid here with a quick video tutorial on how to touch up your photos in Photoshop. So this tutorial is going to assume that you do have a basic knowledge of Photoshop. If you see me use any hotkeys or do anything that doesn't make any sense to you and you would like further clarification, feel free to message me or leave me a comment in the comments below. You can get in touch with me over Facebook or through my website as well. So let's get right to it then. And just so you know, this is my laptop and this is my Cintiq, so when I'm talking and I'm looking over here, I'm not crazy, although that might be debatable, I don't know. But my Cintiq is over here, so I can just show you guys really quick. Hopefully I don't pull all the cords or spill my coconut water. Okay, so yeah, here's my Cintiq where I work, so. Alrighty, let me just get myself lined up a little bit. Okay. So I've already run through this myself. I had actually done another video, but I rambled on quite a bit and it was kind of crazy, so I figured I would quickly re-record this and just show a little bit faster, hopefully, what I actually did. So here is my photo, and I'm going to make a duplicate of it. Again, I'm not going to explain what I'm doing. This kind of tutorial is pretty much assuming that you do have some knowledge of Photoshop. I am considering doing a more basic, like, this is what Photoshop is kind of tutorial in the future as well. So if a lot of people are interested in that, just sort of let me know so I can kind of gauge if it's worth it or not. Okay, so I made a duplicate of the background layer. Now this is going to be my sort of source for a few things. The areas that I'm going to touch up are going to be the eye area. I have an earplug that I'd like to remove. I had a little bit of bad skin that day, so I'm just going to tweak that a little bit. I'm going to show you guys how to whiten teeth and adjust the color of lips as well. Now, I'm not a huge supporter of people really heavily photoshopping their work. I really don't support people making themselves skinnier in Photoshop. You know, it's one thing to have like a mild wardrobe malfunction and fix that, and I'll show you how to do that kind of thing as well in later videos. But it's another thing to totally change the way you look. Like, the stuff that I'm doing is fairly cosmetic stuff. My dark circles under my eyes are caused by a few different problems that I have. Health-wise, and I'm a little bit self-conscious about them, so while I do touch them up a little bit, I don't totally take them out because it is a part of who I am and how I look. So you'll never see me go and change, you know, my nose or you know, my cheekbones or anything like that, right? Because I don't feel like that's something that I really want to support, like magazine style, you know, where you see this woman with a really nice, healthy waistline, and then she's been made to be an absolute stick with the most airbrushed face you've ever seen. So what this is meant to be is much more of a, how do you enhance what you have, and just a few little tweaks just to, you know, just to bring it all together, okay? So yes, so duplicate the layer. I know, I've said that a couple of times. What I'm going to do is, using the select tool, I'm going to grab the skin right underneath where it changes. And I apologize if you're enjoying the side of my head. I do tend to be one of those people who gets really close to my Cintiq, so I'm just going to Control-C and Control-V for that. That gives me a separate layer right there. I'm just going to move these guys up a little bit. Now, I've already done this in another layer, so I'm not going to make this totally perfect, because I'll show you just how it turns out afterwards. Okay, and then I'm going to add a mask to that. I want to grab a nice soft brush here. If you'd like to know what brushes I use, send me a message and I can link you to the brushes that I use. I do use a lot of my own custom brushes, but there is a brush set that I use for my actual digital painting that I absolutely love, that a really awesome artist put together on DeviantArt and made available for people to use. So anyway, so what you'll see me doing here is I'm going through and I'm just erasing and kind of smoothing it out a little bit, making sure that my eye still kind of shows through. So after I've done that a little bit, I'm going to lower the opacity And what this will eventually look like, just pretend you didn't see any of that, is going to be this. So this took a little bit of finessing. I lowered the opacity quite a bit because I do still feel like that is part of how I look. You know, I don't think I should be too sad by that, right? It's just you're in the water, the chlorine starts to get at you, and that definitely aggravates everything under here and kind of brings it up. You know, nobody's perfect. I want to stress this. What you see me doing is not because I'm unhappy with how I look. I'm fine with it. If this is a question that I get and people would like to know, and because I know a lot about Photoshop, this is something that I can do. So this is me sharing the wisdom, knowledge. Okay. So that was how to do the dark circles under your eyes. Now, a lot of the rest of the stuff that you're going to see, and a lot of people will do, will be to smooth out if you had any blemishes. Rule of thumb, don't smooth out beauty marks, because if you aren't consistent, people are going to know that you're smoothing out your face, because, you know, I have 2 little spots here, and if I don't have them in one photo, and then I have them in another photo, and then I don't again, and, you know, highly suspect. So basically, you create a new layer, you're going to grab that soften brush, and you're just going to go over everything. Is it going? Oh, there we go. I must have had something selected. Anyways, again, I'm only going over a few of the areas. The more that you go over it, you'll see the weirder and softer it gets. You don't want to be too nuts, but if you do have, like, you know, little areas, you just want to go and sort of smooth and whatever. At this point, I've turned off that other layer that I had with the eyes. Again, I have a freckle here, and I have a mole and a freckle here. I'm not going to touch those because they're part of my face. This, however, was a little blemish that I'm just gonna pretend never happened. There you go, and just touching it up a little bit, smooth, 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 smooth. I don't know if I had a specific separate layer for that. Yeah, that was the layer that I had for the smoothing. So that just goes and shows you there. The next thing I wanted to show is how to fill in the eyebrow, like I've done here. This was achieved by using a little bit of a harder brush and zooming in quite a bit. I'm like one of only a few people who really likes seeing all the pixels. I love pixels. I count pixels. Anyways, so you're just going to go in and you want to actually make little hair strokes. Mom, this is for you. I'm always listening. My mom's an esthetician and she always, you know, no, you got to go, the hair is got to, you know. So, Mommy, I was listening. So there you go. You're just going to go in, you're going to do, and you're kind of going over the same spot. Now, it's going to start to look a little bit like you've done something here. Don't stress. You just gotta keep fiddling with it a little bit here. You can also use the smooth tool, because you can see the focus wasn't totally perfect. So you just, you know, smooth it out a little bit. And away you go, right? So after you fool around with that for a little bit, you will end up with something like this. Nice and smooth. Now I had chicken pox as a kid, which is why I'm doing this. I have a couple of gaps in my eyebrows. I usually pencil them in, but I was in the water for a while and it starts to wear off a little bit. So that's just me, you know, minor adjustments. Okay, so far so good. The next thing I'm going to show is I've painted out my earplug. I do wear earplugs. I like to save my ears as much as I can. Sorry, itchy nose. So that was eyebrow. That's the earplug. My only real tip for this one, because I actually do paint it out, I use that same, harder brush that I've got there. Go with the flow of the lines. Like, really try to pay attention to where shading already exists. So now you can see I'm doing this a little bit faster than I did the first go around, just to show. But yeah, your shading doesn't need to be perfect, because you can see it is there's a little bit of artifacting and a little bit of stuff happening there. So you can kind of get away with it not being totally perfect. So once you've fiddled with that, you're going to get something like that. And that was just using brush and color picking with my trusty color pickle. My trusty color picker. There we go. I got this. Okay. So, I'm also going to make some adjustments to the eyes. I thought this was, this is a thing I like to do. I have hazel colored eyes, so they're not green and they're not blue. They're like kind of somewhere in between, depending on the water, the lighting, whatever. They'll look a little bit more one way than the other. Here I decided to use a hue sat layer. It's just in here, to the menu here, hue sat. It will come up with a nice option like this, and you can tweak, hello. Oh god, did I kill? No, I didn't. Okay, there we go. Photoshop hasn't been really liking me today. It's been temperamental. Anyways, so yeah, did that, and it's the same thing, just using the mask to paint in the color that you want. Again, don't be too ridiculous unless that's something that you're actually trying to go for. You want to be ridiculous, like you want red eyes or something, I don't know. Because it'll start to be like, oh, what's going on there? Stuff's happening. The trick with photo editing for me is just to enhance the picture, not to totally change what you look like. Again, I know I said that before, but I'm saying it again. Next, I went in with some white. I'm a huge fan of masks, so everything you see here I did by filling the whole page with one color and then using a mask to take it all out and then bring just in what I need, because I really find it irritating to go between the eraser tool and the brush tool. It's just too much work for me. Anyways, I like to just switch between the X, which swaps the two colors. Let me actually be in a brush. Good. So you can see hitting X swaps between black and white, which is how you take color in and out of your masks. So, you know, I try to be as efficient as possible, and X marks the spot. There you go. So I threw in some highlights. I don't, you know, you can see again the opacity is kind of low. I don't like to make them ridiculous because it starts to look googly-eyed and a bit too like Disney-ified or something. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's just a little bit too cartoony. What was this one then? Oh yeah, so I whitened my teeth a little bit as well, using the exact same technique with a white layer and a mask. I just went in there. Hello. What's going on? Yeah, there we go. And just did this. Thing with teeth whitening. Okay? Pay attention to your shadows. If you go in and just white teeth, it's gonna look so goofy and really awful, and don't do it. Please. Just light, just a little bit, because you want the shading, and nobody's teeth are perfectly white, although, you know, mine aren't looking too bad right now. Unless they aren't real teeth, then they might be really white, but nobody's got paper white teeth. It's just not, it's always a little bit off, a little bit to the yellow. Okay, so that's an important thing. Next, you want to add a little bit of something to your lips. I don't wear bright colored lips. I usually just a little bit of gloss, but sometimes a little bit extra pink. It doesn't look bad. So I just, I've got a dead pixel freaking out on my screen. Go away. Yeah, so I just picked a color off of my actual lip color that I have here, and I just went in. So let me show you. I just made a new layer. I just grabbed, I kind of looked, I was like, you know, okay, if you Alt and you can actually hold down, you can actually see my colors swapping around on there. So I just grabbed one, clicked there, and just opened this up, and I just found something a little bit, you know, a little bit brighter, and then I went in, after I make the whole screen that color, and then use the mask to take it out, and then use the brush to put it back in. This seems like a little bit of a convoluted kind of way to do it. Because of my workflow at my actual job, this is, you know, it's just part of my habit now. So everything I do for my personal work, it's all kind of based around this. So this looks pretty funny, but once you play with the blending options and you lower the opacity, you're going to get something nice. It's just a little bit rosy. It doesn't have to be ridiculous. Again, unless that's what you're going for, at which point, best of luck to you. And that pretty much takes us to what you see here. So I group everything in a nice folder. The folder button's just down here. Or you want to select everybody and hit Control-G, we'll group it, and then just label them changes. So just for my own sanity, I'm going to delete this and show you guys that's what that looks like. So you can see it's not enough of a difference that you can't tell that it's me anymore. which is what really scares me, because some of the things that I see people do, like copying one eye and duplicating it over to the other side, like my face isn't perfectly symmetrical, and I'm okay with that. Just saying. Okay, so that's the basics. So that'll wrap things up for this sort of episode of my behind-the-scenes video tutorials. If you guys have any questions about what you've seen, feel free to leave me a comment, message me, email me, what have you. And I will do my very best to help you out. If you have any ideas for things you'd like me to do in the future when it comes to Photoshop, again, send me a message and I will see what I can do. If I get a lot of requests for anything specific, I will definitely bump that to the head of the line. And hopefully you found that helpful. You know, it's a little something fun to try anyways. Yeah, so that's it. Happy swimming. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll talk to you guys all soon. Bye!